So I have declarative thinking recipe like this, but the thing is, you should cook it well, otherwise it will burn. Because when you overuse environment or when you overuse some kind of parameters or view modifiers, or even when you can just put some default value or you can just make some template or any other options, you can apply it. But when you want to make some kind of view modifiers, you can use this method, but it is not a magic to any other and all of the cases. So you have to consider what would be the best option to optimize your resources and how can you maintain and keep the balance between the scalability and maintainability with the limited resources. Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to my presentation. I prepared the topic for my presentation today is your big hat components, both your code, and the supportive topic is declarative thinking in SwiftUI. And I want to know how many people are here who are using declarative framework in UI layer. Could you please raise your hand? Okay, so many. And what about SwiftUI in your code base? And if you, just let me know if you are using SwiftUI more than 50% in your code base. Please raise your hand. Okay, quite a lot. And what about 70%? Okay, it's like auction. And what about 100%? No. Okay. I want to make a brief introduction of myself. I am Kyuri Kim, and I have a responsibility of iOS role leader at PFCT, which is one of the fintech startups from South Korea. So it was quite a long trip here, but I'm so excited to be here. And since I have many challenges within the fintech company. So if you have any experiences in dynamic environments in startup fields, you will understand the pressure to keep the balance between the scalability and the maintainability, because we have to test the product to the market in very short time, but we have only limited resources, so we have to adapt it very, very clearly, and we have to optimize the limited resources. So I had many concerns with the optimization of resources, and we had the answer, and the answer was like adapting clean architecture, design patterns and modularization like this, and I implemented design system, mocking system, network, event tracking, scrapping, verification for users, and more and more. And the thing is, it was nearly 20 packages in the startup, and it was only with SwiftUI and Combine. And I have started with this technical features since iOS 13 as a minimum version of our application in 2020. So I want to introduce one of the insights I got from the challenges I faced in this industry. So I prepared the two parts for this presentation. The first part will be big hat component. So guess the definition of big hat component, and I will describe it later. And I will show why we should not adapt it and why we should avoid it as much as possible. And second part will be declarative thinking. And what is the declarative thinking, and how can we apply it in your code base? So part one, big head component. In the early stage of my product development, I encountered many challenges, and I resulted many mistakes, common mistakes that developers can make, and what I like to call like big head component. So I want to introduce one of the episodes based on the real story from my own experiences, and I recommend you think of and compare to your story and your case and your code base, because I strongly believe it isn't unique to me, but it can happen to any mobile developers between the mobile developers and designers and product managers. So imagine a busy office, and there is a project manager, and he was sitting on the desk, and he had one new idea. So he approached to a developer and asked him, I have a new idea for implementing something. And this is one of the moments the developer can think like, what will happen? Because there is sometimes there are differences between developers and designers. We should align the differences between those. And well, he said it would be simple. I want to categorize and display users' credit status into a few sections, and I want to display this section with different color as donut chart figure. So it was so simple at the first moment. So the developer implemented like this. He defined the donut chart and follows view, and it has body as well. So I just skipped the detailed implementation because we want to focusing on the parameters. So in the extension of donut chart, we have item, and in item we have a couple of parameters like ID to identify each section, and percentage to display the portion, and also color to identify. And from the donut chart, it will have items as a parameter. So it has one parameter like this. Done. So when he wants to use it, it will initialize like this donut chart, and it contains one parameter, which is items, but inside it should be implemented with the array of item. So it has 3 items here, like this. So it's simple. But the thing is, in the next release of the production, the project manager wanted to add some more features like this. So I want to show detailed content about the selected section in the middle of the chart, and I want to apply the scale effect to the selected section when the user touches. And I want to put some labels for each section. It should be great. So okay, I will add something. And the developer thought, I want to make a reusable component, so he decided to make some parameters added instead of just put some default value into the component. So he created the selected item as binding type and scale effect value, and he also added label, which is string type, inside item. Cool. So when he wants to use this, he will do like this. He will initialize donut chart like this, and we have 3 parameters now. So he should inject items as before, but it has one more parameter inside item, which is label. So like this, and one more, like this for a credit. And the third one will be purple color and with the depth. And to make the selected section highlighted, it should be implemented to inject a scale effect value and also selected item. So the source is the parent view, which is content view. So we define state value to deliver it into the donut chart, like this. So far, so good. But we met the third requirement like this. So the manager wanted to make like this. I think we need something more attractive. So I want to make some fancy animation, and I think we should the modifiable font size, color, weight, or stroke, and anything else, because we want to reuse this component into several screens as well. So we need to make some enhanced and sophisticated in UI for selected labels, and we want to highlight it as well. So we will see how is it going to be. So as before, he just added parameters like this, and we will see how can be worse as well. And this episode is mainly focusing on how the product can be getting complicated and how the code can be worse as well. So if we just implement and add any other differences as parameter, single parameter, it will be like this. So label font, label foreground color, label background color, selected label font, and also there are many parameters should be added to make it differently, like this. So, yeah, and still more, we have it. Shadow effect as well. Quite a lot, right? Yeah. And I will skip the body part as before. And also we have the selected sections as multiple. So we just change the type of selected items into the array. So the thing is, when we want to initialize this component now, it will be so unhappy. Let me show you. So when we type the donut chart like here, we will see many parameters inside preview, and it will be irritating, like this. So we should consider many parameters when we initialize at the first moment, and even if we don't need to implement or inject something to implement some specificated UI feature. So think of, I will skip this, think of this case. What if you want to implement like this kind of UI? It is a bit different than before, but it is quite similar with before, but it has a round shape for the stroke, but it doesn't have any label or selected section. So when we reuse the component we defined just before, we have to inject nil value into the use list dependencies like this. So when we want to reuse this component in this structure, he should put nil-able parameter like this. It's not good and it doesn't look fancy. So more nil-able parameters will be here, and it will cause more code complexity, because you can easily imagine if it has some kind of nil-able parameter, and it will cause like if many multiple if-else statements inside the body part. And when you want to check or test all of the cases, and you will have to find all of the if-else statements and to follow the meaning of the parameters. So it will cause the challenges of initialization. Think of the next developer who didn't implement this, who didn't have any responsibility for this implementation, but he wanted to reuse it, and he will encounter this kind of bad initialization, and he will think of, oh, maybe the developer who made this component must hate me much a lot, and yeah, maybe he will say some bad words to the developers. So I don't want to be that kind of developer. So, and it will become an error you would have been seen. So it is kind of error when you have the multiple parameters. When you try to initialize a component, and you will be confused with the order of the parameters. But think of the other declarative framework like React. It allows it doesn't protect. It doesn't forbid the order of the parameters. It just put some probes, and we don't care of the order of the parameters. But in the Swift, you have to consider it, and when the initialization is occurred in your code base. So I don't like this header, and I want to be happy. So how could we be possible to make it? But we still have the problem like this. The component is out of control, and we have uncertain testability, because we cannot ensure the testing the component with conviction, because we cannot assume the uncertain side effects of all the parameters in the usages. And also it has many useless dependencies, and it will cause resource inefficiency, and it is the biggest problem we have. So I want to optimize the resource efficiency, because we are in the startup and we have only limited resources, time resources and human resources as well. So how could we possibly happy with designers and developers and also project managers? And the answer is declarative thinking. Definitely. So SwiftUI, thankfully, provides a practical way to implement and inject the declarative thinking into your code in an easy way. So I brought a very simple example, but we want to reusable and maintainable component in SwiftUI, and you may think of multiple solutions to implement it with SwiftUI provides, but it could be generic view, or it could be template pattern, or any other design patterns, and maybe you can make the better tricks like with the modeling part. But I want to focus on the view modifiers in this section. So I will show you a very simple example of SwiftUI with the view modifiers. It is image. We just implement image with a few lines like this. So we define image with system name, and we just put view modifiers like resizable, rendering mode, and frame. And it is like building blocks, you know. And we will call here like method chaining or decorative pattern like this. I say image is a base source here, and the three of them following image would be view modifiers here. So I want to make adapting this, but think of when if you implement those view modifiers at extension view instead of extension image, the pictures on the left side are from the Apple documentation, and you will see the return type is image. But if you implement those view modifiers like the picture on the right side, it will result like the result type will be some view instead of image. And it will cause a problem because when you want to just implement text, it will show rendering mode resizable, which are view modifiers for image. So it will be complicated and it will be confusing to what to use in your code to the proper way. So there are problems of extension view. It will cause like conflict, overriding conflict. So it will cause hard way to make encapsulation, modularity, and testing, maintenance as well. So in this point, we think of abstraction, and we need to abstract the component. And how can we do this? So I just cheated from the official documentation from Apple because it provides charts. In this section, we can use sector mark for donut charts. On the left side, you can see the protocol for the parameters for initialization of sector mark here. And for the sector mark, it has multiple view modifiers like opacity and annotation or corner radius. So when you use this, in these kind of use cases, first of all, it defines sector mark, and it has 4 parameters like this, and angle, inner radius, outer radius, and so on. And it just wrapped with this chart. And also, when you want to elaborate the UI of the donut chart, it will just implement like this on the right side. You just append the shadow, opacity, and corner radius, and like this. You just append the view modifiers, both of sector mark and chart as well. So I got insights from these usages, which is we can split it into 2 parts. Component and view modifiers. So they only append the view modifiers, not overuse parameter injections. I don't say parameters are so bad and all waste time, but I want to say we have to split it into the responsibility of the usage. And my question is how? So I got a simple recipe for this, and first thing, we have 6 steps, and the first step is implement basic component. It means you have to contain only a few parameters for a core of the component. You have to think of and consider what is the core portion and core concept of this component. So don't overuse the injection of parameters in this place. So, and secondly, which is the most important step in this among the 6 steps, which is define type erase view protocol. I want to show it like this. How can we define type erase protocol? Well, Apple has any chart content like this. It is a type erase chart content, and it is to abstract the chart content. And for as they implemented like this, I just define the protocol whose name is AnyDonutChart. So it doesn't have any properties inside it, but you can put some more properties if you want, as much as you want. But in this point, I want to show the basic one like this. So when you create the type erase protocol, AnyDonutChart, you will have concern with this, because when you make extension AnyDonutChart and implement a view modifier, which is donut-label, but it will when you implement something, it will return type as some view instead of AnyDonutChart, because you will implement something into the any view something. And when you use this like inside a preview, you will define donut chart like this, and you will append the donut label, but it will return some view instead of any donut chart. So I will have a concern of how can we make the method chaining, and how can we do it more expanded view modifiers. So that's why I brought the third step, which is make wrapper to map into AnyDonutChart. So if you implement AnyDonutChart wrapper, it will be helpful to map from original one, which follows view, into the AnyDonutChart. So with this AnyDonutChart wrapper, we can make any view something into the donut chart and AnyDonutChart type. So we can now create multiple, and we can make factory of view modifiers with extension AnyDonutChart. So when you want to put some label or stroke, any other things, you can just put their functions inside AnyDonutChart of extension like this, and you will create any view modifiers as many as you need. So I just presented 3 of them: donut label and donut stroke, and also delay up here. It is just about make some delay to be appeared in the screen. And the thing is, I got a new concern, which is the component doesn't know the values from the view modifiers, but because we want to make some injection to the component, and the component will receive some injection, and it should implement something inside the body, but if we just split it into the view modifiers, but it is really hard to deliver the values into the component. So how can I inject the parameters into the component? So let me check the time. And my answer was environment. So environment is a property wrapper that reads a value from a view's environment. It is normally used to make some applying of common value into a multiple screen like this. So for example, a color scheme, you can define the environment color scheme inside the view, and you can apply to the text like this: dark mode for dark and light mode for light. And I utilize the environment to make the delivery into the component. So I defined the model. You can add any parameters inside it. So for the animation part, I implemented a donut chart animation. It has only 1 parameters, a scale for the basic, and we will use environment key like this, and also environment values. And it will be helpful to make view modifiers like this. With the donut chart animation, it will have 1 parameter for donut chart animation. I just added but just before, and it was returned to type any donut charts, and it will use wrapper to make any donut chart from the view type, and so on. So we can now use this component. And let's back to the requirements we face at the first part of the presentation. So first requirement was like this, categorizing into a few sections and different color and donut chart. So it will be like this. It will have binding selected items like this. And the difference is item is hashable type to make more expandable. And also it has only items and selected items. And we can put all of the view modifiers for the requirements like this, animation or font size or selective section like this. We can add and create at the extension of AnyDonutChart like this. We can put some donut shadow and it will return AnyDonutChart. And also donut animation like this. And the type is same. It is kind of slow. I will make it fast. And so on. Oh, okay. So on. Okay. It has multiple. Okay. I should be patient. Yeah. Donut stroke as well. And it will have stroke style for the parameter. So the point is we just separate the responsibility of the UI elaboration for the UI features, and it will be much more reusable for the component. So when you want to use this component, it will be different with before. It has only two parameters, which are selected items and items for the data, like this. And when we want to make some sophisticated UI features like this on the left side of the screen, we just make some appendable view modifiers like this. And you can choose what you want to implement it. Like this. So we don't consider any kind of elaborated or detailed UI features when you initialize at the first point. So you can choose the options like this. So if you encounter these kind of UI features as well, you made nil at the first part of my presentation, but now we can use like this. We just have donut chart, but we have options to select the view modifiers as you want, like this. So I want to compare between big head and long tail. So the left side is what I want to call big head component. It has too many parameters inside of the components, and we have to consider many things with this kind of error. But with the long tail, with the declarative thinking, we can only consider selected items and items at the initialization, and we can just append any modifiers when we want to make fancy components like this. So I have declarative thinking recipe like this. For the short recap, first you can implement basic component and just be aware of you should only use a few number of the parameters for this, and you define Tiberius view protocol and make wrapper and create view modifiers and utilize an environment. But the thing is, you should cook it well, otherwise it will burn. Because when you overuse environment or when you overuse some kind of parameters or view modifiers, or even when you can just put some default value, or you can just make some template or any other options, you can apply it. But when you want to make some kind of view modifiers, you can use this method, but it is not a magic to any other and all of the cases. So you have to consider what would be the best option to optimize your resources, and how can you maintain and keep the balance between the scalability and maintainability with the limited resources. So with this kind of point of view, you can get the scalability along with the resource optimization. And thank you for my presentation and listening for you. And yeah, we can have Q&A session now.